Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Early on this morning, Arc Raiders got a brand new update, the 1.7.0 update, aka the cold snap or the winter update here. So we got a bunch of new patch notes to go through. They ended up updating obviously not only gameplay with some of the content, everything going on here with the actual cold snap map condition, the flickering flames event. We do have a new raider deck as well. There's new quests and some new items available. We also now have a bunch of new changes live in game. So as we go through everything, if you guys want to continue to see more Arc Raiders content here on the channel, do me a favor, drop a like on the video, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. They do detail some patch highlights. First and foremost, there is a new skill tree reset functionality. If you want to go through and reset your skill tree without doing the expedition, you can do that. They added the option to toggle ADS. Wallet now shows your cred soft cap. Various festive items you can get into the holiday spirit with are now available. They moved the Philion blueprint drop from the matriarch to Stellamontis, added a raider tool customization, which is pretty cool, fixed various collision issues on different maps, and improved Stellamontis spawn distance checks to address the issues of players spawning too close to each other where you load in and someone's firing 10 feet in front of you. There were a couple of different balance changes in this update as well with weapons here. First up on the Batina, the devs say these changes aim to make the Batina a bit less reliant on bringing a secondary weapon. The weapon should now be a bit more competent in PvP without tipping the scales too much. Data shows that this weapon is still the highest performing PvE weapon at its rarity, not counting the hole cracker. The durability should also feel more in line with the other assault rifles, so the durability burn rate has been reduced a decent bit. The base magazine size has also been increased by 2 shots, and the base reload time has been reduced a little bit as well by half a second there. On the Rattler here, dev note, even though the Rattler is not intended to compete with the Stitcher or the Kettle at close distances, it is receiving a minor buff to bring its PvP TTK at lower levels a bit closer to the Stitcher and the Kettle. The weapon should remain in its intended role as a more deliberate weapon where players are expected to dip in and out of cover, fire in controlled bursts, and manage their reloads, so the base mag size has been increased by 2. With Arc updates here on the Shredder, they reduced the amount of knockback applied by weapons, increased movement speed and turning responsiveness, increased the health of the Shredder's head to prevent cases where its head could be shot off, leading to unintended behavior, improved Shredder navigation to reduce getting stuck on corners and other obstacles there, increased the speed at which the Shredder enters combat when taking damage in close proximity to players. They also increased the number of parts the Shredder on the Shredder that can be individually destroyed. The various different content and bug updates here with achievements, these are now enabled in the Epic Store if you want to go for some of those. With animations here, they fixed an issue where picking up a field crate with the trigger nade attached could cause the character to slide or move without any input. An issue where combining snap hook with zip lines or ladders could store momentum and propel players longer distances. An issue where running animation could appear incorrect after a small drop when over encumbered. Interactions now end correctly when performing a dodge roll. Interacting with holding items or deployables no longer causes your arms to twist in crazy ways, and added more animations to character skins and equipment to make them more natural. We also have some other Arc updates here. They fixed an issue where deployables attached to enemies could cause them to launch or clip out of bounds when shot. Missiles no longer reverse course after passing a target and can correctly track targets at different elevations. On the Sentinel, fixed a bug where the Sentinel laser did not reach the targeted player over greater distances. The Surveyor disabled vaulting onto Arc Surveyors to prevent unintended launches when they were moving. They also fixed an issue with the Bombardier projectiles that could shoot through the Matriarch shield from outside. We also have a handful of audio updates here. They fixed an issue where gas stun and the impulse mines did not actually play their trigger sound at times, increased the number of simultaneous footstep sounds, and increased their priority, so that should be a little bit more definitive now when you're playing. Fixed an issue where footsteps in metal stairs became very quiet when walking slowly, improved directional sounds for Arc enemies, added sounds for sending and receiving text chat messages in the main menu, removed the unsettling "Mom" from the Speranza Katina ambient sounds, tweaked the loudness and of announcements in various main menu screens, then added a number of small audio bug fixes and polished the game in general here. We also got several map updates in this patch as well. Here they fixed an issue with spawn logic, which could cause players who were reconnecting at the start of a session to spawn next to other players who had just joined. Various collision, geometry, VFX, and texture issues were also updated across the board. Fixed an issue with the slope of the raider hatch that was too steep for downed raiders to crawl on top of it, so you couldn't get your escape there in some situations. Security lockers now dynamically spawn across all maps instead of being static, so you could find those maybe in some surprise spots now. They fixed some raider cache spawning problems, fixed lootable containers and supply drops spawning inside terrain on the dam and blue gates, fixed an issue where doors could appear closed for some players even though they were open, so that's obviously a big issue there. On electromagnetic storm, lightning strikes sometimes leave behind a valuable item now, which is interesting. Increase the number of possible Great Mullen spawn locations across all maps. On Dam Battlegrounds specifically, moved the Matriarch spawn point in Dam Battlegrounds to an area that better plays to her strengths. On Spaceport, adjusted the locked room protection area and container storage on Spaceport to not affect players outside of that room. Blue Gate, locked gate map condition has now been added. Adjusted map bounds near a ledge in Blue Gate to improve navigation and reduce abrupt out of bounds stops. They improved some of the tree shadows kind of to reduce overly dark visuals. Fixed an issue where loot spawns outside of the locked room in the village, then also added props and visual cues to the final camp in the quest, a first foothold, to make the objective locations a little bit easier to find. On Stellamontis, increased some item and blueprint spawn rates. Some breachable containers on Stellamontis no longer drop rubber ducks when using a little extra skill. They also put in parentheses, sorry. And then adjusted window glass clarity on Stellamontis as well for better visibility. Then we've got some miscellaneous updates here too. They had some general crash fixes, including AMD crashes, so good news there. Added the skill tree reset functionality in exchange for coins. It's 2,000 coins per skill points. Wallet now shows your cred soft cap at 800. They say, we decided to implement a cap so players wouldn't be able to fully unlock new raider decks by just stacking cred. Basically, we believe that raider decks offer rewarding experiences to enjoy while players engage with the game, and a large cred wallet undermines that goal. We will not be removing cred that has been accumulated before the introduction of the soft cap. So if you were saving like 2,000 cred, for instance, you'll still have that, but going forward, after you hit 800, you gotta spend some. Here they also added Raider tool customization as mentioned earlier, fixed a bug that caused players to spawn on servers without their gear, and in full default customization for ranks up to Daredevil 1 leaderboards now have a 3x promotion zone for the top 5 players. Fixed an issue where the tutorial door breach could be canceled, preventing the cutscene from playing and blocking progression. An issue where players could continue breaching doors while downed. An issue where accepting a Discord invite without having your account linked could fail to place you in the party. An issue that sometimes cause textures and meshes to flicker with higher and lower quality states. Depth of field amount is now scaled correctly depending on your resolution scale. An issue where returning to the game after alt tabbing could prevent movement and ability inputs while camera controls work, so it kind of made your game a little bit unplayable there. Improved input handling when the game window regains focus to avoid unexpected input mode switches. On the skill tree, effortless roll skill now provides greater stamina cost reduction, and the calming stroll skill now applies while moving in ADS. Couple of movement updates here. They fixed a traversal issue that blocked jumping and climbing in certain areas. An issue where climbing ladders over open gaps could cause automatic detachment. A slight stamina cost has been added for entering a slide, and acceleration has been reduced when doing a dodge roll from a slide. With UI updates here, they added the option to toggle ADS as mentioned. A new cinematic graphics setting is also available if you want to play with higher visuals there. In the codex, they improved accuracy for tracking damage dealt. Field crafted items now properly count towards player stats. Fixed missing sound in the codex records, then also added a codex section to rewatch previously seen videos. On console, they updated some PS5 controller prompts, then also fixed a crash when using show profile on Xbox. In customization, you can now rotate your character in the customization screen, added notifications in character customization to highlight recently unlocked items, and fix an issue where equipment customization items bought from the loadout screen were not equipped after pressing equip on the purchase screen. At the end of a round, further reduced the frequency of the end of round feedback survey pop-ups. Also added an optional round feedback button on the final end of round screen to open up a short post-match survey. On the expedition, they added a show and hide tooltip hint there now. Added expeditions completed to your player stats. Added resource tracking for expedition stages. Added reward display to raider projects showing the rewards for each goal there. Fixed an input conflict in raider projects where tracking a resource in expeditions could also open the about expeditions window. With inventory updates here, they fixed an issue where closing right click in the right click menu in the inventory could reset focus to a different slot. Fixed flickering in the inventory tooltips. Opening the inventory during a breach now cancels the interaction to prevent an animation glitch. Adjusted the inventory screen layout to prevent tooltips from appearing immediately. Then also fixed an issue where the weapon slot right click menu in the inventory would not appear after navigating from an empty attachment slot on controller. In game, they fixed an issue where the climb prompt did not appear on a rooftop ladder in Blue Gates. Resolved an issue where certain interaction icons could fail to appear. Fixed revive events not being counted. Fixed an issue where the zipline interaction prompts could remain on a previously previously used zipline. Quick equip items wheel now has a stable layout, no longer collapses items towards the top. Updated in-game text across multiple languages. Added a cancel prompt when preparing to throw grenades and other throwable items. Fixed the in-game input hints to match your current keybinds there. Tutorial hints now stay on screen briefly after you perform the suggested action. Fixed an issue where input hints could remain on screen after being downed. HUD markers that are closer to the player now appear on top for improved legibility. Fixed an issue where items sometimes displayed the wrong icon. An issue where user hints were sometimes shown when spectating. Strong room racks and power stations now display a distinct color when full of carryables. An issue where reconnecting to a match could leave your character in a broken state has been fixed. They also slightly delayed the initial loot screen opening and the transition from opening to searching during interactions. We also have main menu updates. Like I said, pretty major update here. So here they added a live events carousel to the main menu, fixed an issue where the weapons upgrade tab would sometimes change locations, resolved an issue where raiders could pop in and out of the home screen background, installed workstations no longer appear in the workstation install view. You can now navigate from on-screen notifications to the relevant screens, including jumping directly into learned recipes. The upgrade weapon tab now accurately displays a magazine size increases, fixed an issue where the map screen could become unresponsive at times. When inspecting items, rotating will now hide UI at times. Free Raider deck content now displays as free instead of 0. Added a carousel to the main menu featuring quests and a Raider deck shortcut. Then also fixed an issue with the scrappy screen. With quest updates, they made pickups on the ground show icons if they are part of quests or tracked. An issue where the notification could remain after accepting and claiming quests is fixed. Accepting and completing quests is shown as loading while awaiting a server response. Fixed an issue where rapidly skipping through quest videos after completing the first supply depot quest could soft lock the UI. Updated interaction text with quest objectives. Updated the names and descriptions of the moisture probe and EC meter quest items. Improved ping information for quest objectives. Adjusted the color of quests and tracking in-game interaction hints for better clarity. With settings, they added a new slider to tweak motion blur intensity, updated tooltips for effects and overall quality in levels in the video settings with better descriptions, added labels to show whether an input action is hold or toggle, fixed an issue where the flash effect ignored the invert colors setting, fixed a crash in settings when rapidly adjusting some of the sliders. Players will now be guided to Windows settings for microphone permissions, fixed a crash that could occur when opening the video settings, also fixed an issue where some option category screens continued responding to inputs even after you exited out of there. With store, players no longer see error messages when canceling purchases, and newly added store products now show a new indication for improved discoverability. With social, they fixed an issue where Discord friends could appear with an incorrect status, added a party join icon to the social interface, then fixed an issue with the social right-click context menu could be remaining visible in the home tab after rapidly opening and closing it on controller. With tooltips, they fixed some incorrect item tooltips of the arc stun duration. Tooltips now repositioned to remain fully visible, and then fixed tooltips showing blueprint already learned on completed goal rewards. With trials, the objectives now clearly indicate when they offer bonus conditions. They fixed an issue where the trial rank icon could be missing at times, added trial pop-ups that explain how ranking works, and clarifies that the final rank is worldwide. With voice, they added microphone test functionality so you can see just how loud you are, added better automatic checks for problems with VoIP input and output devices. Using the mouse thumb button for push to talk no longer triggers back in the menus. Fixed an issue where the voice chat status icon could appear incorrectly muted for you at times. Then HUD no longer shows VoIP icons when voice chat is disabled. With utility here, increased loot value in epic keycard rooms, so that's actually huge. Expanded blueprint spawn locations to improve availability in areas where they were underrepresented. Moved the Aphelion blueprint drop from the Matriarch to Stellamontis, as they mentioned earlier. Fixed a bug where you could sometimes become unable to perform any actions if you interacted with carryable objects while experiencing bad network conditions or were downed while holding that. Kind of a crazy niche one there. Fix an issue where Deadline could deal damage through walls. An issue where deployables attached to enemies or buildable structures could cause sudden launches at times. Keys will no longer be removed from the safe pocket when using the unload backpack. Fix an issue where cheater compensation rewards could grant an integrated augment item. An issue where flame spray dealt too much damage to some arcs. An issue where sticky throwables disappeared when thrown at trees. A bug with incorrectly calculated deployment range for deployable items. An issue where mines could not be triggered through damage before they were armed. Playing an instrument now applies the vibing status to other players. Fixed for rubber ducks not being able to be placed into the trinket slot. Then also setting integrated binoculars and integrated shield charger weight is now 0. With other weapon updates, lighter arc are now pushed back slightly when struck by melees, fixed an issue where stowed weapons would not appear on the first spawn, an exploit allowing players to reload energy weapons without actually consuming ammo. ADSing now resumes if it was interrupted while the button aim is still held. Then also fixed an exploit that allowed shotguns to bypass the intended fire cooldown. With quests here, they fixed a bug with the greasing her palms quest, made the quest item ESR analyzer easier to find in Buried City. They improved the clarity of clues for the marked for death quest, fixed an issue with quest videos triggering multiple times, added interactions to find spare keys to several quests related to locked rooms, added unique quest items to the unexpected initiative quest, then also fixed an issue where squad sharing incorrectly completed objectives that spawned quest-specific items. There's also a couple of known issues here. Players with a 9060X TLC have a driver warning pop-up at start despite being on the latest driver. Then also, if you have more items that fit in your stash, the value of the items that don't fit is not included in that final departure screen as well. Stay warm, Raiders. So like I said, an absolute ton of patch notes in the December update here, in the winter update. I cannot wait to jump in, fully experience everything. I've really been looking forward to this update. I love the wintry, the snowy vibes. But yeah, that's gonna wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, you want to see more ARC content, be sure to drop a like on it. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.